Good afternoon. This is a meeting of the Board of Library Trustees. It is June 15th, 2020 at 3 p.m. As a preliminary matter, this is Joanne Geneva, the Chair of the Board of Trustees. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present with one exception and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond. Lisa Kane.
Present.
Absent from the board today is Aidan Heffernan. Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Betsy Perry.
Present.
Shannon Duffy.
Present.
This open meeting of the Board of Library Trustees is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely, so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment. For this meeting, the Board of Trustees is convened by Zoom app as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you, and that take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, I will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until I yield the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in colloquy with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. After members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment as follows. The chair would first ask members of the public who wish to speak to identify their names and addresses only. Once the chair has a list of all public commentators, I'll call on each by name and afford 3 minutes for any comments. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. With all of that said, we can now begin our meeting. So I have already called us to order. We now have an additional member present, which is Aidan Heffernan. And we will begin with our youth services report because our previous meeting minutes are being tabled. So we will work on the previous meeting minutes at our next meeting when they are available to us. So, Shannon Duffy, would you begin with the youth services report?
All right. Afternoon, everybody. So it's been a long time since I was last given a report. So since then and throughout quarantine and such, there's been 26 webinars that I've watched. There's a completed list provided in the documentation if you want to peruse it, but there's quite a bit of them. And it would take too long for me to read them all to you, but they were interesting, yes. But if you remember all the way back, in the month of February, which was the last full month that we had of our full amount of children's programming, we had 22 programs for kids, and we had 248 people in attendance. For March, we were able to sneak in 13 in-person children's programs with a total of 166 people in attendance. We had to cancel 19 other children's programs for that month. And then we were able to hold 4 virtual story times. We estimate that the views for that was about 51 people. We're still really trying to figure out how to gauge participation in a virtual format, especially because when you do like Facebook Live, it tells you the peak amount of people who are watching. So unless you're just staring at the count and like keeping track of it, which I can't really do, and do story time at the same time, it's very hard to get an accurate number and like to weed out the people who just happen to be scrolling and pause there for a second. So the best we can estimate, there was about 51 people participating in those for those 4 story times. But anyway, in April, we canceled 35 in-person children's programs. We held 6 virtual story times. So we were doing 2 a week essentially on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We estimate that there was about 96 views for those. We also hosted 2 5-week Apple Tree Arts Zoom classes for toddlers and preschoolers that were a replacement for the in-person sessions we had previously paid for with the Osterman grant. The virtual sessions were not very well attended. There's probably multiple factors with those in that, you know, we'd already been in quarantine for a while and we're probably all screened out at that point. Toddlers and young children are hard to keep focused on a screen for a long period of time anyway. And the weather had just started to get really nice and everyone had been trapped inside. So it was sort of just a wash, which was kind of a bummer, but it was nice that we could offer it regardless. In May, we had canceled 21 in-person children's programs. We held 8 virtual story times, and we estimate that there was about 41 views there. Again, that's probably a combination of the weather getting nicer and people just being screened out, which I think is fair. With the start of curbside pickup and delivery in June, we've also been leaving out craft kits We have ones for children, and then we have ones that are separate for teens and adults. In the first 2 weeks, which was only really 5 pickup dates, we had 20 adult crafts and 28 kids crafts that have been distributed. Coming up for the future, we are going to continue to do virtual baby story time every Tuesday at 10:30 on Facebook Live. A virtual story time with Miss Shannon, which is basically one where I read books. In baby story time, it's mostly just songs and finger plays, but in regular virtual story time, I read books every Wednesday at 10:30 on Facebook Live. We've started releasing Deb Hudgens videos. Now, normally we have Deb Hudgens once a month in the library, which usually she pulls a lot of participation and attendance herself. We have a grant that is budgeted to pay for that. And since we have been closed, we haven't been using that money. So she has started releasing videos that are significantly cheaper than her in-person ones. So we've decided that we're going to release one a week for at least the next 15 weeks and then reassess where we are in programming land then. But those just started. Last week was the first one. This week we'll put out another one. They'll stay out for the entire week until there's a replacement, and then we'll take it down. There's been a good number of response since that. I think that one's a linked video. So basically we're counting participation on how many people actually click on the link to go and watch the video. There's been about 15 people so far who have done that. Obviously it's not an exact science because like when you're in person, one parent comes, but there could be up to 4 kids with that one parent. And in this instance, we just know that one person has clicked on it. We don't actually know how many people are watching it, but it's still a nice bit of variety. Speaking of variety, we had previously scheduled a in-person baby sign language classes for 4 weeks. We had already sort of paid for it. We sent out a check, but she hadn't cashed it yet. And so we have changed it to a virtual baby sign language, which will start the first Wednesday in July 1st, and run for 4 weeks. That one does require registration because it's in Zoom, not on Facebook Live. It is currently open if there's anybody who wants to participate in it. It's best suitable for people with children 8 months to pre-verbal. But that's exciting. We are going to be doing summer reading for all of those who are panicking that we wouldn't. We're just going to shorten it. It's just going to be for the month of July. Again, most people are pretty screened out at this point. And also it's just going to be completely online. So the way it will work, it'll work actually almost identically to how we've done it in the past, except for instead of getting physical tickets, when you enter your time for every hour, you get a virtual ticket, and then you can put that virtual ticket into a virtual raffle box, which is associated with different prizes. And on the website that you used last year, there's pictures and descriptions of each raffle, so you still have the autonomy to choose if you put all of your tickets into one thing, or 5 in one and 1 in another, or however you want to do it. I've also taken the pictures and description of the prizes, and they're on our website. They're not viewable for the public to see just yet, but a lot of the kids, especially the ones who are in the in-between ages, like to choose based on the prizes if they're going to be in the teen one or in the kids one that year, those who are old enough to have that choice. So they will be able to look at it ahead of time before they choose that. It'll start Tuesday, July 7th. That date in there is incorrect. Sorry about that. There were some modifications we made this morning. But yeah, let's see. We are also still in a grant year for the LSTA. That was the STEM grant that I received. So right now we are working on creating take-home art of science kits. We were advised by the health department not to do anything food related. I had a cooking of science one, and I thought about, you know, there was a way to maybe make a food related kit, but that's a little too risky and weird right now during this time. So we're going to do an art one. So they're going to be consumable kits, as in they won't come back to us. You'll just take the kit, and then I will probably make videos that like I'm doing it with them, but I won't actually be there, which will be interesting. So we hope to have those out soon. There will be registration required for those because of the fact that they're part of a grant and to keep track of funding and all of that jazz. But that's what's going on in Kids Land. For teens and tweens, in February, we had 4 teen programs. We had 21 people in attendance. In March, we had 1 teen program with 6 people in attendance, and then we had 2 which were canceled. In April, we had 7 canceled teen programs, and in May, we had 4 teen canceled programs. With that LSTA grant money, we have been purchasing forensics materials. The plan had been this summer that we run a forensics like 4 or 5 week camp, sort of like how in previous years we've done Evil Genius, and this one would have been a forensics based one. So I have purchased the materials which we do plan to use as soon as in-person programming can resume, but we don't know what that is yet. But yeah, that's sort of where we're at. Questions, concerns?
Okay, thank you, Shannon. I do have one question. This is Joanne Geneva, the chair. In your past programs and attendance, you said you started curbside pickup for craft kits for children, teens, and adults. My one question is, do people have to sign up in advance to receive those craft kits, or are they just available as grab and go?
So this is Shannon again. They are just available for grab and go. So I usually put out half of what we have for the day out there, and when people pick them up, they pick them up. We do have a sign that says, please limit yourself to 1 per person, but no, they're just sort of out there for anyone who's coming and picking up stuff. You know, just you're grabbing your books and you're like, oh, this looks cool.
All right, thank you. Aiden, do you have any questions for Shannon about her report?
No, at this time I'm good, thank you.
And Lisa, do you have any questions or comments for Shannon?
No questions or comments other than thank you for all your work keeping things going during the quarantine.
Okay, we will then proceed to Betsy's report, our director's report.
Okay, so I kept mine a little shorter because it was just too depressing to count up the amount of stuff we had to cancel. So adult programs, I have none at this point. We've held a couple with Colin on Facebook over the past couple months, and I've estimated like 25 people about live watching there. The MBLC has instructed us to keep our virtual programming numbers separate than our in-person programming numbers, so we're doing that. Pam has been holding her book groups via Zoom, which has been great because that was a kind of a known quantity audience, so she knew who to reach out to. And I don't have the numbers on me for that. So, and I don't have anything scheduled for the foreseeable future. The only concert I'd actually scheduled for outside to use our LCC grant was Far From Eden in the middle of July. And as of now, outdoor concerts are still banned. So, and I've talked to the Cultural Council and I've talked to the Board of Health. So we're just kind of waiting to see what July will bring and not bothering to schedule anything else. And that's a reimbursement grant, so it's not like we've received any money that we have to give back. So I don't feel too bad about that. It is what it is. The Friends have not met in months. I don't know when they're planning on meeting. Obviously, they didn't do a book sale or anything like that. So they're kind of just in stasis at the moment. I've updated you with meetings and things like that over the past couple months, so I didn't write them out because it's just a laundry list of the same things over and over again. Let's see, I did view our bequest a couple weeks ago. I told you guys that, and I declined to take any of the books because we just don't have the place to process them or store them. There's no point in saving them for a book sale or to potentially add in the collection because there's just no room. There's never any room. We have been doing a lot of weeding while we've been closed. So there is actually room right now on the shelves, but we know that never lasts. Let's see. We did do a 2-week spring reading online program as a test for the virtual summer reading that Shannon just talked about. It went okay. We had maybe 25 people. I think, Shannon, can you nod? Okay. And the Friends provided gift certificates to local businesses, and we mail them to the winners for a completely no contact program. As far as adult summer reading, I didn't ever send out my letters for prizes, but some of Shannon's letters generated prizes that we're going to be able to use. Wegman sent us a very generous gift certificate that we were able to actually split up into smaller gift certificates. We also have a Walmart gift certificate and some ski passes. And is that it, Shannon? You nod, yeah. Which turns out to like 7 adult prizes, which is not a lot, but it is what it is. And I can't in good conscience go asking local businesses for gift certificates now. Let's see. We still need to do a new 5-year long range plan, but we don't have to do it now. We got an automatic 1-year extension, and as long as we file an updated action plan this fall, we'll be eligible for next year's LSTA grants if we're applying, and if there are in fact LSTA grants, because no one knows what there's going to be for money. Springtown meeting is Monday night at 7. Department head attendance is optional for the first time ever, in the interest of keeping as few people there as possible for social distancing. I assume that rolls over to boards and committees, but was not specifically mentioned. The election is Tuesday, June 23rd from noon to 4. We do not have a candidate for the vacant library trustee position, so if anyone knows someone who wants to be that, let me know so we can pass the word for a write-in candidate. We did not do our annual staff day. We talked about having lunch and we didn't do that, but that's fine. The staff understands. Look at how happy she is. In the first 2 weeks, so as of last Friday, we had done 71 separate material pickups and 16 home deliveries, totaling somewhere I'd say about 600 items. So that was pretty good. It's definitely picking up. We added Friday as a pickup day starting this week. This week? Yes. We didn't do it the other day. Or last week, did we do pickups Friday, Shannon? It all blends together. She says we did. So that's good. So we're doing, people can pick up materials Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or we will be glad to home deliver Tuesday or Thursday. We're constantly working about 2 days ahead so that we can also accommodate last minute requests. If somebody calls up and says, I want this one book, do you have it today? We can package it up and get it out for them that afternoon. It's working pretty good so far. We're going with just the window approach. Your stuff's either out there from 10 to noon or from noon to 3. So we're not constantly running back. Some libraries are doing like 15-minute interval pickups, and they're constantly running in and out their doors, which does not hold a lot of appeal to me. And this seems to be working okay. People are, distancing themselves outside. Well, we actually, between all that, and the book drop has been open for a couple weeks now, we are getting a fair amount of returns. We just this morning finished up our last bin to go into interlibrary loan. which I think gives us about 10 full bins to go. We're optimistic that next week they might start a little bit of delivery. We just got an update this morning, and it won't be every day, but it might be 2 or 3 times a week, which would be anything helpful. Matt has been generously shuttling stuff between us and Whitensville, and sometimes that's armloads of stuff, just to keep it out of delivery and just to get it to its rightful home. And we're also exchanging things with Douglas. We don't have a lot for them and he doesn't have a lot for us, but it helps to get things where they want to go faster. What else? Oh, Pam has been working on something that we'd started just before we closed, but she's been able to have a lot of time to dedicate to them since we've been back. They're called binge boxes, and they're like I should have brought one in. It's like a little plastic suitcase, and it's got a collection of thematic movies in it. And this was a good idea because we thought people might like to take them out, and also a way to keep some movies that maybe don't go out often, but we want to have, but we just, again, as always, have no room for them. So there's like a Western one. There's I don't know if she did, we were talking about Hunger Games. We did, I don't know, I should have brought the list, but they're really cool. And they look really great. And we are just about ready to roll out 10 or 11 of those. We just have a couple more finishing touches, but it's been a lot of interesting back-end work getting the cataloging done so that all the movies show up right. If you search for The Terminal with Tom Hanks, the binge box comes up and not just the movie. Let's see, as far as the rest of the housekeeping that we're doing, I don't know. We also have been putting out for people who just happen to be picking stuff up, old magazines. When we did come back in, all of us, we had about 3 months worth of new magazines to catalog. So we had a lot of old ones to get rid of. So we deleted those and we bagged them up in themes and put them in paper bags and said, please don't bring these back. And we're almost out, so that's good. We had a lot. I don't know if you want me to pause and you can just ask any questions before we go on to talking about money. Oh, Joanne, you're muted.
Okay, how's that? Better?
Yeah.
All right, Betsy, thank you for your report and for all the work you've been doing to change over to a virtual remote library rather than an in-person location. So it's much appreciated. Let's see. Aidan, do you have any comments, any questions for Betsy?
Only comment or question I will state is I think both Shannon and Betsy did a beautiful job keeping us in the loop of what was going on via email while we were on our hiatus of having board meetings. So I greatly appreciate the communication. Thank you.
Okay, and Lisa, do you have any questions or comments for Betsy?
I think she's covered it pretty well. And my only question is, have we heard when we could possibly have up to, say, 10 browsers in the library or whatever? Have we heard anything about that yet?
Nope. I just, right before we started this meeting, got an email from another library who wants to start talking about its phase 2, part 2. And I don't know when it's coming, and I'm not sure we'll be able to participate because of our size. Because that's a bigger library, and what they're talking about is putting their most popular things kind of closer to their door and making almost like a little corral. You come in, you look at the most popular stuff, and then you exit a different door. There's no way that we're going to be able to do that, never mind even moving stuff closer to the door. So I don't know. Today we talked a lot about our July schedule, because I'm trying to plan ahead, and we're going to space out a little bit more. Right now we're all here between about 8:30 and 4, and we haven't been here on the weekend. Allie was here on the weekend and she did some craft stuff for us. But for July, we're going to space out, and we'll be here from 8:30 to 6. And we're talking about extending our pickup windows, so we'll have like a 10 to 1 and a 1 to 5 window, and adding Saturday as a pickup day too. And just that will help us get a little bit more back into the swing of things. And that way, if we are ready, if the state's ready for phase 2, part 2, we have more hours in place and we're already prepared to be here for limited browsing. That said, I don't know how we're going to do it and how many people will actually be able to put in here. If it's like a quarter of our capacity, which is 50, that's 12. And then if you subtract staff, say there's 3 staff here, that's like 9 people. Plus the fact that one of us will probably have to be at the door managing the traffic. So that'll be an interesting bit of scheduling too, depending on how much traffic there is. I ordered this morning some spots to go on the ground that just say, you know, they weren't like 6 feet distance, but they're social distancing spots that will either go on the carpet or they'll go outside. I bought ones that were specifically indoor-outdoor spots. And also a longer piece that'll go in front of the counter, 6 feet back and 6 feet long, that says stand back here and this far apart. But I don't know, we can't do, I mean, other places are talking about, you know, one-way arrows. We can't do one-way arrows. We only have 3 aisles in the, you know, the biggest part. So the biggest thing will be keeping as few people in here as possible. But I have no idea when that's coming.
Thank you, that helps clarify it.
Yeah, it's all a wait and see.
Okay, well, it's all new for all of us, so we're all in the same boat of trying to figure this out as we go. With all of that said, Betsy, why don't you go on to finances and the rest of your report?
Okay, oh, and statistics too. I mean, look at these statistics. Look at all those zeros. You don't often see those fine numbers. So these are the physical materials, which were obviously terrible. So we had, actually, I mean, for March, it wasn't that bad, $25.98, considering we were only here half the month. And everything that was checked out prior to all libraries closing, CW Mars kept extending the due date, so they didn't show up as renewals, which is why, like, they're in April, there's no renewals. As of right now, everything was extended till July 1st, and I don't think we're doing any more automatic extensions because most libraries are doing some kind of service. And like what we're doing actually is we're checking everything out for like 3 weeks from Friday when we're doing our packaging of our deliveries just for sake of ease. So whoever picked up, say if somebody picked up a bag of books and DVDs today, everything in that bag is due 3 weeks from this coming Friday. So people don't have to worry about getting their stuff back. And we're obviously still in a completely fine-free waiving fine zone and not worrying about billing anybody and just trying to reassure them. So yeah, so these numbers are pretty terrible, but it is what it is. But the next ones are much better. Let's see if can I make this a little, no, I can't make it bigger. Can you see that okay? It's kind of tiny. So overdrive statistics way up. So we were averaging like mid 700s. March, we went up to 834. April, 991. So close to 1,000. I'm still irritated by that. I would have loved to have crested 1,000. May, 957. And June, I don't think I actually looked at June yet, but I anticipate it'll probably be pretty good too. So overdrive statistics way up. And those were pretty much the only materials I was buying for about March and April. I did a couple overdrive orders, and you don't have to buy very much to spend a lot of money there. But that's been fantastic. So it's nice to see these numbers. We'll easily be up over 1,000 from where we were last year. So those are good numbers. The overall budget looks surprisingly good. I was worried because we continued to pay all the part-timers while we were closed. I was worried that we were going to really run it close on that because usually we have account for, you know, somebody taking an unpaid day off and it saves us a little money. But we are scraping by with a 0.2% under the other 2 lines for salaries. So I think we're going to make it. without overspending that line. We still have a little bit left in repair and maintenance, which we'll probably just have to write off because I don't think we're going to have anything to spend that on. And as far as book money, we are anxiously awaiting stuff from Ingram. We restarted our account, I guess, for lack of purpose. And today it looks like stuff finally shipped out to us either Thursday or Friday. And I'm not sure how long UPS is taking these days. But stuff is definitely coming our way, and we are super excited for that because we've got 3 months worth of stuff backlogged. And people will be very happy to get some new items. So this, I'm pleased with this. I was surprised it looked that good. State aid. So we've got our second payment. This will probably, if you want to just enjoy those numbers, those are probably going to be the highest ones we're going to see for the next couple of years. So I didn't put the numbers on here. I wrote them down on my paper. So we have a balance of $9,556.35. We've been buying program supplies, and then down here you can start to see the COVID supplies. So we've bought 4 shields from WB Mason. They're about $250 a piece. Down here you can see it reflected that we've been refunded from the COVID funds for 2 of them so far. The other 2 I just did the other day, so I certainly don't expect it. And we've been reimbursed for 1 package of the grocery paper bags that we've purchased. We've actually purchased 2 that we have in-house packages of the paper bags, and I just ordered another one. So that's good, and I just keep putting a little note on it for the accountant that says, this is a COVID purchase, and hopefully they'll just keep reimbursing us for that. But I'm trying not to buy anything that we can't afford. And so far, it hasn't been much of an issue. We do have a couple hundred gloves, as well as a box of disposable face masks. We're all wearing cloth ones here, but when we open and we want to have disposable ones available for patrons coming in. So that's why we have those. All right. Gift account. We have not spent any money in the gift account in 5 months. It's very exciting. So the balance in the gift account is $1,256.60. But we are planning, like, this $250 deposit here was a check from a company for summer reading. So we're going to use that to buy gift cards for young adults. Shannon's already picked those out, and we're going to buy them through their friends. And that way it'll be something easy for us to mail to them at the end of summer reading. I just like to enjoy that we haven't spent any money in 5 months in there. Not that there's much money to spend. This is the Osterman Family Foundation Literacy Grant. The balance in here is $7,500.89. So when Shannon was talking about the infant sign language, what we did here, this check that we wrote her for $690 in January, she kept and she didn't cash. So we've canceled that and she tore it up. And then we've rehired her down here for her virtual baby sign, which is $480, which was maybe like 1 less lesson and also mileage. So we say in our actual budget that we set for that in the grant was $500. So this is actually better for us. Let's see. And so pretty much all we've done since then is we've paid Deb Hudgens for that. This is for like the 15 weeks of the virtual music classes. So that's in good shape. We did submit a midterm report to them. I didn't hear back after that. I'm still trying to spend the money, but that was an entirely programming grant. Everything in there was programming. So, but at least we have until December. So hopefully we'll be able to work it out. But I'm not sure. The one thing, actually I do have something scheduled, although it's not an adult thing. This was a summer performance. It's Didgeridoo Down Under. And they are going to do it virtually now. I talked to them. So, and like this cooking one was rescheduled to the fall, will either be in person or virtual when it gets here. I think I've got one more. That's a weird page. This is the LSTA STEM grant. Balance in here is $5,241.51. And this just reflects all the forensic stuff that Shannon's been buying while we were closed, and Amazon was still shipping to us. So that was nice. I think, oh, and that's it. So that's what I've got. I'm going to jet it back up to the agenda, or actually I'll leave it down here in case anybody has any money questions. Lisa.
Hey, Lisa, did you have a question?
More of a suggestion. So I noticed Shannon is planning to use the Friends to get some of the gift cards, but I was also thinking, I'm wondering if it's a chance for us to maybe support some of the local businesses that have maybe supported us, like, I don't know, the Center Store or Tony's or anywhere else, to get some gift cards to those local places for the young adults. I know the school staff got Sutton Center Store gift cards from the PTO, and they were so grateful that the PTO bought the cards. The teachers were grateful to get gift cards to somewhere local. So I don't know, it's just a thought. If some of the cards could be from local businesses, that might be great.
Okay, thank you. Aiden, do you have any questions?
No, I'm good. I think Lisa had a great idea. I think we need to support our local community. I second that we look into getting some local gift cards, but no, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, and my only question is, as far as that repair and maintenance money, can any of that be used to purchase any cleaning or COVID-related supplies that would not normally be reimbursed?
I don't know. That's a good thought. And because I don't have any idea of what actually is reimbursable. They just told me to keep putting it on there if we bought something specifically to use for COVID. I suppose we could buy a new air conditioner.
There we go.
No, it was when we had Highway put them in when it was really hot, and I don't think we've actually used them yet. And we are maybe, I know we've said this before, maybe going to get a new door.
Maybe.
That will be handicapped accessible as a result of this. Maybe.
Okay.
So
I don't think any of us are holding our breaths, but we can be hopeful.
yeah.
Maybe we could have like a, I don't know, like a pool, like which will come first, a vaccine or the door, you know?
It's true.
I like that idea. You could sell squares into the pool and maybe generate some funding for more gift cards, local. We're getting desperate. Okay. If no one else has any questions for Betsy, we will move on to new or old business. Betsy, Shannon, do either of you have any new business that you need to bring up to the board at this time?
Nope.
Okay. Aiden, do you have anything, any new business to bring up to the board?
This time I'm good.
Okay, before I ask Lisa, I do have one thing. This is Lisa's last formal meeting, and so I want to take a minute to say thank you, Lisa, for your tireless efforts, for your years of service. You've been an absolutely invaluable member to this board as long as I've been a member, and I really appreciate all you have done, and I know we all do. You have truly been a champion for the library during your years of service, and you will be greatly missed. Betsy, do you have anything to add?
I'd like to say thank you from the staff. It's been a long, what, 6 years? And we greatly appreciate all that you've done for us, both formally and informally. We will greatly miss you.
Well, it's been an interesting ride. And I really learned a lot and enjoyed working with everybody. And I look forward to heading back to just patron status.
All right, Shannon, anything to add at this time? Aiden, anything to add at this time?
No, unless we want to write her in.
It is a possibility. I don't think she'd accept right now, though. Okay, so I will then entertain a motion to adjourn at, let's see, 3:46. So if
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, I will second that motion, and we have to do a voice vote. So the motion is on the table to adjourn. Lisa?
Aye.
Aiden? And I also am an aye. So we have a unanimous vote to adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everyone, for attending.